Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Today we are doing our FSA Packet 1 and we are doing problems 21 through 30. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me make my head smaller. Okay, which of the following values is equivalent or equal to 3 times 3 times 3 times 3? Select all that apply. So there could be more, there will be more than just one answer here. Anytime it says select all that apply, you're looking at more than one answer. Okay, so if you notice, 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, there is 4 3s, so this will definitely be 3 to the 4th power, which is D. It will not be 3 to the 6th power because it is 3 to the 4th power. 3 to the 4th power, well, you can see here that 3 to the 2nd times 3 to the 2nd, there's going to be, this is 3 to the 2nd power, and this is 3 to the 2nd power. And if we multiply those two together, it would give us 3 to the 4th power, which is A, so A is also correct. If we take 3 to the 2nd power and write it 5 times, it is already not going to be correct, because this is 3 to the 4th power. This is 3 to the 6th, 3 to the 8th, and 3 to the 10th power. So that's too big. And then we have 3 to the 1st power times 3 to the 3rd power. Again, this is 3. And then 3 to the 3rd power is 3 times 3 times 3. So 3 to the 1st times 3 to the 3rd is 3 to the 4th power, which is also correct. So your answer choices should have been A, D, and E. Which of the following has a coefficient of 5? Remember, the coefficient is just a number in front of your variable. And a variable is simply a letter in math. It's a letter that stands for an unknown number. So, y is our variable, but the coefficient in front of y is 4, so that's not correct. Our 5 here is actually our exponent, so that's not correct. 4 is simply a constant. A constant is just another word for a number, and that has no 5 in it whatsoever, so we know that's not true. Number C. C is 4 times y, so again, 4 is the coefficient in front of y, our variable, and then it's being divided by 5, so that's not going to work either. Y is our variable here, and 5 is the number written in front of it, which is our coefficient. So our answer choice here is D. What value of x would make the following equation true? So to solve an addition equation, we just have to do the opposite of what it says. To solve, we have to work backwards. So if this is saying x plus 11, we want to do the opposite of adding 11 to x, which is subtracting 11 from, and we would subtract it from both sides here. And 11 minus 11 gives us 0. That's why we do the opposite, so we can get x by itself. And 19 minus 11 gives us 8. So our answer here, x is equal to 8. And you can always double check your answers here, because if you plugged 8 back in for x and you added it to 11, you will get 19. So that checks itself off. Okay, that was the end of the first session. So now let's go into the second session. Okay, Morgan runs at least 13 laps around the track each day. That's a lot. Write an inequality which shows x, the number of laps Morgan runs each day. So she runs 13 laps each day. So, an inequality. She runs at least 13 laps. Sorry, I was not reading that correctly. She runs at least 13. So she could run more than 13, or she can run an equal amount of 13, but she does not run less than 13. So at least is a greater than or equal to sign. Okay, so x is greater than or equal to 13. That's our answer. Okay, what is the volume in cubic inches of the rectangular prism shown below? Remember, when we are trying to get the volume of a rectangular prism, we are just multiplying the length times width times height, or the base times width times height. It's the same formula, same thing. So 6 1/2 times 2 and 3/4. So let me figure out where I'm going to do this. 6 1/2 times 2 and 3/4. We're just multiplying all of these numbers together. What I would recommend is changing these mixed numbers into improper fractions by doing the backward C method. So 2 times 6 gives us 12. Add 1 makes 13. So we have 13 over 2. Your denominator does not change here. Here we need to give our whole number a denominator of 1, so it will be 2 over 1. And then 4 times 2 gives us 8, plus 3 gives us 11, so we have 11 over 4. And then we're just multiplying straight across. Here you could cross cancel if you wanted to, because 2 can go into 2, or you could just multiply straight across and reduce in the end. So 13 times 2 gives us 26, and then we can do 26 times 11 over here. 6 times 1 is 6, 1 times 2 is 2, 0 to hold our place, 1 times 6 is 6, 1 times 2 is 2, and then we add these together. That gives us 286. And then 2 times 1 is 2, times 4 is 8. So now we have 286 over 8 is our answer, but you could reduce this, and I would start reducing this by dividing, and let me change to a different color. Put the top number in the house and divide it by your denominator. 8 cannot go into 2, but it can go into 28 3 times. 3 times 8 is 24. Subtract and we get 4. Bring down our 6. 8 goes into 46 5 times. 5 times 8 is 40. And then we have 6 left over. We do not have anything else to bring down, so we can bring up our remainder, which is 6, and then our divisor would follow, which is 8. So your answer here would be 35 6/8. So 286 over 8 is equal to 35 6/8. 6/8 can also be reduced because you could divide the top and bottom numbers by 2. So 6 divided by 2 gives me 3, 8 divided by 2 gives me 4, and we need to bring over our whole number in front of our fraction, which is our 35. So 35 3/4 is my final reduced answer. But these answers are all correct. They are all correct. 35 3/4, you could also put 35 and 75 hundredths would also be correct if you wanted to change these into decimals. Okay, it says solve the following equation for n. We have 6n equals 138. Right now, this is just a multiplication problem. When you have a variable in front of your coefficient, it just means that you're multiplying those two together. So to solve a multiplication equation, you have to do the opposite of multiply, which is divide. So we want to divide both sides here by 6. 6 divided by 6 gives us 1, and 1 times n gives us n, which is why we wanted to do the opposite of multiplying by 6, so we could get rid of 6 and be left with n. And then we have 138 divided by 6. I don't know how to do that off the top of my head, so we are going to divide 138 divided by 6. 6 cannot go into 1, but it goes into 13 2 times. 2 times 6 is 12. Subtract and we get 1. Bring down your 8. 6 goes into 18. 3 times 6 is 18. Subtract and we get 0. So your answer is that n is equal to 23. What is the greatest common factor for 75 and 90? I like to do the birthday cake method here. And what that is you are dividing both of these numbers by the same number. Like what number can go into both 75 and 90? I can see that this one ends in a 5 and this one ends in a 0. So I know that 5 goes into both of these. And you can divide off the side if you don't know how many times 5 goes into both of those. 5 goes into 7 once, you get 5, subtract, you get 2, bring down your 5. 5 goes into 25 5 times, 5 times 5 is 25. So this would be a 15, because 5 times 15 gives you 75. And then we have to figure out how many times 5 goes into 90. 5 goes into 9 once, that's 4. Nope, that's 5. Subtract, we get 4. Bring down our 0. 5 goes into 48, and that's 8 times 5 is 40. Subtract, we get 8. Subtract, we get 0. Blah, blah, blah. And then we have 18, okay, because 5 times 18 gives us 90. Now, 15 and 18, we have to think, what number goes into both 15 and 18 evenly? Well, that's 3. 3 times 5 gives me 15, and 3 times 6 gives me 18. Now we're done because I cannot think of a number that goes into both 5 and 6 other than 1. You can take out the 1, but again, you're going to get 5 and 6 again. When you get the same number each time and the only thing you can take out is 1, you're going to take these numbers off to the side and you're going to multiply them all together. 5 times 3 gives me 15, and 15 times 1 is 15. So my answer, my greatest common factor here is 15. Okay, it says the box plot shows the distance run by 30 members of the Sunset Running Club in the month of November. So it says select all the following true statements based on the data in the box plot. So the mean of the data is 56 miles. We don't know that because with a box plot you cannot tell the mean. Each quartile represents 25 members. Well, from here, this is the first quartile. Sorry, from here to here is the first quartile. That's quartile 1. And it goes from 30 to 45, which is only 15. So that answer is not correct. I don't know why I started coloring it in. It's not correct. Okay, the range of the data is 40 miles. Range is when you take the biggest number, which is 70, and subtract the smallest number, which is 30. And that gives us 40. So the range is 40. So that's correct. C is correct. The interquartile range is 20. So what you do for the interquartile range is you take your Q3 and subtract your Q1 from it. So 65 minus 45, that gives you 20. So that is correct. The interquartile range is 20. The median of the data is 59. Median is where this line is in the box plot. The line in the middle of the box itself is your median. So the number right before 60 is 59. So that answer is correct. So C, D, and E are your answers. Okay. What is the value of 3.5 or 3.5 squared? 3.5 squared. Squared just means you're multiplying that number by itself 2 times. So 1, 2. So then you multiply 3.5 times 3.5. 5 times 5 gives me 25. You'll carry your 2. 5 times 3 is 15. 16, 17. 0 to hold your place. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. And then you'll add these together. 5 plus 0 is 5. 7 plus 5 is 12. Carry your 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 0 is 2. And 1 plus nothing is 1. Then we have our 2 decimal places. We can see that we have 2 decimal places because we only have 1 number behind our decimal here and 1 number behind our decimal here. That gives me 2 decimal places total. So you'll start out the back of the number and move it over once and twice. So 12 and 25 hundredths is your answer. Oh, there we go. Okay, Haley graphed the following 2 points on the coordinate plane. What is the distance between the 2 points? Well, you could simply draw this. If you had a coordinate plane, you could draw it on the coordinate plane, mark your points, and then count the distance between the two. So you could do that if you had a coordinate plane to work with. If you did not, if you'll notice, my 5s are both the same. So we're not worried about the 5s. We want to find the distance between -7 and 4. And you could simply do this on a number line. I'm going to run out of room here. Okay, so from -7 to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that gives me 11 units. You could also count the distance between 0 and 4, which is 4, and between 0 and -7. So finding the absolute value of -7 and adding that to the absolute value of 4 would also give you your answer of positive 11. The absolute value of -7 is 7, the absolute value of 4 is 4, and 7 plus 4 gives you 11. So you could have also done it that way as well. Whatever way gets you the right answer, right? Okay, and 30. In a circle, pi, this is the symbol for pi, and it's pronounced pi, P-I, okay, is equivalent to the ratio of the circles. We need to think back on what we did on Pi Day, okay? The circumference divided by the diameter actually gives us pi. So circumference divided by diameter equals pi, 3.14. Okay, so the ratio is simply a division problem. This divided by this. So our answer is actually going to be C, circumference to the diameter. Okay, that's all I have for you today. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I miss you guys so much. I hope you guys are staying healthy and safe and enjoying time with your family and getting in touch with your friends and teachers through FaceTime or Zoom or something. I hope to see you guys soon. Bye.